We'll quickly start. Let's start with my intro first, in a very quick, short intro. So this is a 3 days workshop. I'll be taking your first 3 days, and the next week, the following 3 days will be taken by another brother. So again, my name is Jahidul Islam. Some of you may have went through my LinkedIn profile. I currently work for Amazon as a system development engineer, and as well, I do also run a bootcamp school called Izaan School. A full-fledged bootcamp school is a Texas state approved school. And then also on the side, I run another recruiting firm called Connect Talents. That's about me, a short. I'm a very passionate coach. I have been teaching people, I think, over 6 years in tech. This is something I love to do. I hope end of this session, you will have some value. We'll be able to add some value in your, portfolio. Again, I wanted to set the expectation right. We may not become able, you may not become able to someone expert in the field at this, by doing a 3 days workshop. But I strongly believe that end of this workshop, you will have some sorts of interest, or you will be able to identify whether cloud is your place to move or not. That's like something, I would say the end goal of the workshop. From my perspective, if some of you are like, we have seen around 80% people are fresher in this program, which is 0 years experience in AWS or cloud computing. So if someone who has been in cloud computing for 1 year or 2 years, it's not a big deal. You can still maybe get some value, but if you don't get value, please don't get mad upon us. Ping us, text us, connect with us, and seek for any other guidance you need, right? Whether you wanted to do some advancement or you wanted to learn something more, if you wanted to talk or maybe communicate, feel free to communicate. I will leave all my details shortly in a ticket queue. I wanted to make sure before I proceed that all of you can access one link where, so this one is not going to be a presentation. I am not someone who like presentation, unfortunately. So I will not go with the presentation. Rather, I will go with a full-fledged work. So I'm sharing my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. So if some of you are fond of presentation, don't be upset that he came to a workshop, he doesn't have presentation. I did create a presentation in the last workshop, which is how to find job. If some of you have joined there or not, I'm not sure. That was a demand or request, so we had to fulfill that one. But I think that one was needed because there are various types of questions we found, and I wanted to aggregate the question in a place and then answer those questions, right? So again, coming back to today's one, there will be no PowerPoint. Even there will be no docs, right? I'm gonna share you this link. I expect that you will have this GitHub account project link. If you don't know what is GitHub, if you're not familiar with project management tools, no matter at all, we are not going to learn project management tool. I'm just keeping all my notes in one place so that you can save this link, come later on and get all the references from this link. Does that make sense? It's just a housekeeping. Okay, all good. So here is a link I'm sharing. Please make sure that you guys all can, hit this link, and this is a public link, so you have access to this link. Let us know if you can see this link. Can you make sure that you guys can see this link?
Yes, that's good.
Okay, good. So throughout the workshop, we'll be using this one, and we have a roadmap. I'll go with that quickly, maybe 5 minutes, so that you know what is the purpose and what we are going to, what we are planning for this, so that some of you can understand the expectation, what you will get out of that. Again, as I already gave a quick intro to you guys, please feel free to visit our website and get to know our, like, I wanted to give a disclaimer here, right? Teaching AWS, the way I have been teaching people in my program is actually 6 months long. So when I got a request to do it here with 3 days, I was a little bit in a, I used to do some workshops like that, but I know that it's important to set the expectation right, that you won't be getting a lot out of this. But those who are newcomers, those who are trying to make a transition towards cloud, for you is gonna be definitely beneficial. But again, as you know, we cannot really add value of 6 months program in a 3 hours or 3 or 4 6 sessions this weekend and next weekend. So some of those things you may not understand fundamentally, but I wanted to make sure that you do not get scared. I wanted to make sure you find lots of interest in it. So if it is a ground of interest, if you see you are losing the interest at some point of my taking this session, please feel free to turn on your mic, talk or text, or ask a question. A very layman question, doesn't matter. There will be some aspect I may skip. I may say, hey, this is something you may have to invest some additional time to learn. You can skip and you can learn later on. So there might be a case like that. Just some of you, can you confirm that? Do you see the recording in progress? Is it showing somewhere?
Yes, it's showing like a recording. Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we are recording. So as I just gave you, these are few disclaimer, right? I wanted to set the expectation right. We want to grow your interest. We wanted to make sure you find what is cloud itself and why someone should learn cloud at this point. And in order to create some interest, maybe we'll put you in some projects. We'll do some work together, right? Or we'll give you some directions so that you can go home and do it by your own, right? I would say that's the entire goal of the workshop 1. Workshop 2, thank you. And workshop 2 is, I do have another camera here. So sometimes I will be looking at my, there's another recording camera I have, and then I have one webcam here. So if you see I'm looking left and then a little bit right, don't get bothered on that. And again, so these are few disclaimer. As of now, any of you have any question about the workshop, about these few housekeeping?
Yeah. Hi. So will you have like actual classes in the future, like AWS classes?
Yeah, this will be actual classes. As I see by show you next few minutes, some roadmaps, you will see that these are actual classes. By next few minutes, we'll jump into AWS. By next 15 to 20 minutes. If that makes sense. But it will go from zero. It will go from zero, considering that we have 80% of the participant, according to the statistics, according to the form we have given, they are from they never been in AWS. They said they have zero experience, right? So we'll be going into that, but I wanted to make sure that we'll go from the zero. That answers the question, Javid?
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. So, and then because I'm going to just allow me a few minutes, I'll show you the roadmap that will make some sense, right?
Assalamu alaikum, brother. Abdul Qadir here. With this workshop, going further, like on ourselves, can we able to do our own project, or if there is a requirement that tells us to set up something on a cloud. So after this workshop, should we be able to do that on our own?
Yeah, so to some extent, you will have a capability to learn further, to answer your question, right? The answer is yes. You will get a good solid foundation if you have other basic technological knowledge, right? So you should be able to explore something new. I think that was your question, right? Can I see something and start navigating that, right? So definitely looks like if you have you should be that's all I can say. But again, it's 3 days. You have to put that time by your own if you're just brand new in cloud. If you're just say that, hey, I have done something cloud and I'm still not confused where to go and what to do, that means you have done some work. For you, it is going to be easy. And as I say, it's very easy to direct in a right direction if someone is interested to learn. if someone at least has some self-learning capability, it's not tough. But keeping that motivation high and doing it by yourself, that's like some people they struggle. We will do the groundwork here. You will have that one-on-one capability, and then you should be able to run with that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's the purpose, to go from ground zero, not to jump, right? And again, anyone else? Any other question? You can take note, sure.
Yeah, one question.
Yes, 1 second. Just let me.
Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, Walaikum salam. Just I was answering the Anwar's question in this chat. Just give me a second. Yes, Anwar, you will find the recording at some point. We will post it in our YouTube, and you can get it from there. And then you will have the access to this public board as long as you want. This is our school. We use GitHub projects and GitHub heavily on our school. So we have just enabled this project management project for you. So you will have these resources. Any resources I'm gonna refer you, I'm gonna put it in under this ticket. So anytime, as long as you save this link, the link just now I shared, you should be good. Sorry, brother, I think, brother Asif, can you go ahead?
Yeah, I think you kind of answered, like if somebody is advanced, so I'm advanced, but I also want my team to learn from you. So if you are going from zero, and I can skip some portion, and you will share some recording later as well.
Yeah, we'll share the recording definitely. You will find all these 3 recordings in our YouTube channel. Just make sure that you have the YouTube channel link here. You can hit this channel and just maybe subscribe or whatnot. Then you can maybe get the notifications. Also, we'll shoot this message in the WhatsApp.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, just give me 5 minutes. So get to know the roadmap. Maybe that will help. Oh, brother Nazir, assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Sorry for joining a little bit late. Brother Jahidul, just wanted to drop in and welcome all our students for the AWS workshop this week and next week. Brother Momin would be helping with this. So really appreciate you, Brother Jahidul here, spending your personal time on a busy weekend. And welcome everyone. I'm Nazir Siddiqi from Austin Muslim Tech, and I really appreciate all of you are taking opportunities and learning through this, going through, refreshing this, and inshallah, I think there are a lot of questions, and Brother Jahidul has responding to those. We will have multiple sessions around this. These 2 are the first, like starting with the basic and intermediate and some. And in future, we can look into like taking this path. We also have WhatsApp group for each different area, including AWS. So we will encourage you to join this WhatsApp group, and people will able to help you mentor, respond to the question. You can help each other through as you continue to progress. But I'm very happy to be here with you guys and able to help in any way, and request all of you to do the same. So thank you so much again. Welcome everyone, and thank you, Jahidul, for taking this further.
No problem. Thank you. You are welcome. Thank you for all the hard work you are doing to, help community, bring them together, and managing all other workshops. I know you are not doing only one. You're also managing some of them, as many others. So I think you deserve a little appreciation from us. Many of the folks, those who are joining today, they may not know you. So I think that's why I just wanted to call out this.
Yeah. Thanks, Nazir bhai.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, anything we can do, please continue. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you. So, yeah, so I hope I have answered all of your questions. If you have any questions, please drop in the chat. And also, I will give some pause, and then I will ask you to turn on your mic and ask. If I don't ask you that, please drop your text here. So, as I said, the main goal is to grow your interest, and we don't want a single person to leave this classroom with a frustration saying that, hey, what the heck cloud is and why I'm learning it, right? So let's talk about few things here. I will ask you. There will be some action item for you. Before I jump into this, next 2-3 minutes I'll go to the roadmap. So we'll talk about cloud computing itself. What is cloud computing, and why should you learn cloud computing, and why should not you learn cloud computing? Both, right? So that you can identify the importance of learning cloud computing or cloud services in this time, right? So because you are the person who is going to make a call for your career, right? So I wanted to really let you understand the intensity of learning cloud, right? How it can really impact your present and future. That's something we will go over. In a nutshell, we'll understand cloud computing. Then we'll start talking about AWS or Amazon Web Services, one of the cloud platform. And that's why its name is AWS Workshop, right? And these are free. These are few suggestions here for you to open AWS account and things like that. The links are here. I'll talk about that later on. And then we will talk about few of AWS, like the very basic, very fundamental backbones, which we must need to talk, global infrastructures, and then and how we communicate with AWS services, things like that. These are very fundamentals a person need to know before even they start playing with anything, right? So, and then we will be going over few services within this workshop. It may not be today, it may be in tomorrow's workshop. So we'll see how we progress. These are the few services we'll definitely go over. EC2, I just put it here, but we will not go over EC2 most likely. The project we will be doing, it will be consisting these few services. So we will for sure cover these few services, and then we will do or build a real application by within the class. Okay, I will leave some instructions or workshop instructions for you to do it by yourself if you struggle to do it inside the class. We'll talk a little bit details on the IAM in this class, as this is very fundamental things which you should know before even jumping anything on that, right? So on the day 2, we'll go deep dive, and then we'll do a project. When I say we'll deep dive, honestly speaking, these services is usually it should require a couple of classes to finish, right? So we will at least go to a certain extent that you understand what this service is and how we can use it and how can we build a small application. That will be our goal. That will be day 2, and we'll be able to build a full application, right? That will give us a confidence that now again you can ask that, Jahidul, I don't know programming or whatnot. Do not worry on that. The purpose of the project is to I will provide you all the resources so that you really do not have to go and start writing a bunch of code in order to complete it. But if you wanted to enhance and do something better, you may have to learn those stuff further in terms of programming. But other than that, these are instructions. You have to follow the instructions and connect the dots and make it work. Okay, so next is day 3. We may have to continue with the project. We'll see how we progress and what type of questions you guys are come up with and overall. So we may have to go a little bit overview on the project, but mainly day 3 is focused on giving you guidance that how really you can be prepared for AWS certification. Now, there are different types of certifications. We'll talk about that and who can take which one. I will give you a general guidelines. Also, I will give you some resources. By following those resources, you should be able to appear your certification by your own. That's about roadmap. Any question about roadmap?
Where is this link shared? Sorry, I joined a few minutes late.
Sure, no problem. The link is here.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's a GitHub project board. We'll next project also you'll see the boards. Yeah, tickets are here, but again, this will be your source of truth for all the references and all the informations. I'll be dumping everything here. So please make sure that you save it. Okay. So if no question, right, let's move ahead and talk about, cloud computing, right? So in short, right, I know many of you are maybe understand cloud computing or whatnot. I wanted to just give you a brief on what is cloud computing in a very quick few minutes. My format of cloud computing, I would say. Give me a second. We'll share you a link for the WhatsApp group, okay? Or I will add this link in this chat so that, but we'll share you a link. Maybe that is fair enough. Give me a second.
Your choice of deployment model depends.
Okay, I'm bringing some images for you. Okay, so in short, right, when we say cloud computing, right, let's talk a little bit about our basic understanding, right? It started with like idea of In old days, people used to buy servers. Let's take it this way. In old days, people used to buy servers. Nowadays, people do not go and buy the hardware, buy the server. Right now, it is not only restricted on the server. Now there are many other things within the cloud platform. Now there are companies, they said, hey, you don't have to buy the servers. You can just access or use the server from anywhere of the world. We will keep it, we will maintain it, we will provide it as a service. From that very basic understanding, right, they started launching something called cloud computing. It is still hardware, it is still running somewhere in the world, and it's just like you are not maintaining it, you are not managing it. They made it much easy for you to get access in one click, right? That's in a very layman term is cloud computing. In old days, you have to buy servers or big machines in order to run your applications. Nowadays, in this good time, we don't have to do it. We can just go in a website and then go and click buy it, right? That's all I can say in a very basic, that what cloud computing means. I don't want to make it complicated. I don't want to make your life tough, but I wanted to go over in a little bit on the history, right? So when we talk about the cloud computing history, this is AWS history. Now, the cloud computing history is very long, right? It starts like back in 1960. I think people started talking about it and whatnot. But there are a number of companies, those who are giving at this point this service in this entire world, like AWS, Google, and Azure, and few more, right? AWS being a front runner, one of the fast cloud providing services. So I will actually, as the program is related to AWS, I will actually talk about a little bit on the history of AWS. That will help you to understand that how they started thinking about cloud computing, right? So if you look into these timelines, I will give you the reference link of these place where I'm taking help of showing you this, because as I said, I don't like to show you PowerPoint and all that, but this visualization helps, and I'll let you know where you can find this. So coming back to the history, right? This is where 1994 they started Amazon.com, but in 2003, right? Really, what happens in 2003? They have grown a lot. They have so many customers, right? So as they have so many customers, what they really have to do, they have lots of compute system in the back, right? For Amazon.com. Now, think about in the time of, let's say, Christmas, right? In the time of Christmas, the sale is high, right? People are hitting hard this website. So they have to really scale up their servers. They have to have more servers. Now, maybe in the month of January and February, the sale is a little bit slow. So they have to scale down or remove those hardwares or put those servers in idle state, right? And also to run Amazon.com, AWS has created so many services in the back, right? By their own engineers. Now, what they have thought that why should we keep our hardware idle? It's not in use, and we are spending money on that. Because you have to maintain those servers, right? Maybe those data centers requires powers and whatnot. They decided, why not we sell it to some other people, right? Those who need servers. When we don't need, we'll sell them to them. Right. That's how in 2003 they said, this guy Chris, he said that IT as a service. Let's start selling IT as a service, which is nothing but selling their own servers as a service. And also maybe there are like some other services they started thinking of. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. But that's the time actually commercially someone started thinking, providing this service in a large scale, in a term of cloud computing, right? And back in 2004, they have done some release of their simple queue services, one of the service, and then back in 2006, that's the first time they launched publicly, Amazon Web Services, one of the very first cloud computing platform, right? With I think 2 or 3 services, EC2, S3, and few services. And then this kind of journey continue. I do not want to go rest of that. 2006 it started, it continues now, right? So now you have some idea that how really they have started thinking of AWS. It's just like, think of, you have a big land, and maybe once in a year you need that land, and the entire land is empty throughout the year. So what you said, hey, okay, I'm going to use 1 acre of land, rest 20 acres of the land I'm going to rent to the neighbors or to the community, right? To the people. They will come and they will do the vegetation, right? The community farming or whatnot, right? So that way throughout the year you are getting money, and for that thing, one day when you want to use the entire place for your own party or whatnot, and you are using it. from that very simple concept of renting your own capabilities when it is not in use, these people from Amazon started thinking of selling IT as a service. Does it make sense to someone who never heard about cloud computing? No?
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, great. Thank you. So again, now let's, that's the simple history on, cloud computing, because this is a very fast cloud computing platform. So now you can get to know other people's thought and why they started, but this is how it started. But at the end of the day, the physical machines are still there, and it is just we do not manage it, right? That's the only difference. So the fundamental knowledge of networking, programming, and whatnot, it still remains there. There is no magic, right? Some people think cloud computing is a magic. No, it's not a magic. It's just a different way of using server and services. Okay. So coming back to our roadmap, we were talking about that's all about cloud computing. And now I wanted to answer to I'll mark this too as I proceed. I introduce myself. Choosing a cloud platform, right? Now, when I say choosing a cloud platform as a learner, okay, not as an application developer, right? As the learner, if you wanted to build your own as a learner, if you wanted to learn a cloud platform, because you have multiple cloud platform, right? So some of you might be confused, right? Which platform I should learn and why should I learn, right? Now, in order to answer that, right, there are a few things you need to understand. Market statistics, right? This is what I have applied in the past when I choose to learn AWS. And you may use this one now as well. According to the statistics, around 31% market share, 31+% market share of entire cloud computing market belongs to AWS. I think 21 or 22% belongs to Azure, and then GCP, and then other platform, IBM Cloud, Oracle Cloud, and whatnot, right? So when the market share is high, it means there are more companies using AWS than Azure, than GCP, than other platform. So if there are more employers are using, more companies are using, that means there are more jobs. Right now, definitely Azure is doing better. They're progressing. They're building a lot of stuff. Same way, Amazon is also competing. Everyone is trying to make sure their market is nice, right? But the fact is, at this point, Amazon Web Services has the highest share in the market. So there is a higher possibilities, higher number of jobs in comparison to Azure and other platform, right? That's a very basic way to think that where should I invest. And when I'm learning as a fresher, as a new person, I should avoid learning multi-cloud. That's my opinion. You can choose what you like to do. When I say multi-cloud, I mean learning Azure, AWS, GCP together, or 2-3 cloud together. Because if you're trying to learn in a short time frame, like 3 months, 4 months, 5 months time frame, it's better for you to focus only one cloud platform first, right? So if you learn one cloud platform in depth, then only I would prefer you to invest some time, few weeks time, to learn a second cloud platform as you want to increase your portfolio. The reason is it is extremely tough to build that portfolio or learn these services within that short amount of time. I'm talking about 3 months, 4 months, or 5 months, or 6 months length, right? When I say learn, I mean you should be able to build things. You should be able to play around things, right? You should be able to get your job done, right? Whatever the job you are doing, right? You may be doing development role or whatnot, but the thing is that utilizing that services to a better way, you really need to learn better. You cannot just learn a little bit and then implement something and get your job done. You're gonna make your life tough. So in that case, my suggestion would be, if you are trying to learn cloud computing, choose one platform, invest your time, and get a better hold on that platform, then go into other platform. Because when you know one platform well, it is easy to learn another one. It's not tough, right? You can adapt, because there will be many services common, the conceptually common, but the name will be different. The way of doing things will be slightly here and there, but fundamentally they are same. So again, that is my suggestion. This is a very common question people usually ask me, so I thought to keep this question here and answer to you guys. Now, to answer this question that why should we learn cloud computing? Honestly speaking, if you see any role within IT, right? Any role within IT, it could be development role, project management role, data analyst role, even security role. Almost everyone, for some reason or other, need to come to cloud. Everyone has different purpose, different motive. So why should not you learn? Ask yourself the question now, right? You might be a project manager, right? You might be, pursuing a path towards. Okay, our best analogy for cloud computing features. Yeah, thank you, Mustafa. Yeah, so I avoid giving more, deeper explanations on these other stuff because
Please continue, Jahidul. It was not my intention to interrupt you or something. It was just for a general purpose.
Yeah, sure, no issues. Yeah, I wanted to make sure that other folks understand that why, I do not go on into this, right? The purpose is, there are terms, right? There are terms. If I start talking about SaaS and PaaS and all that, right? Imagine someone never heard about cloud. I don't want to give them a heart stroke, and it is not needed. You can be a cloud engineer without knowing what is PaaS and what is those. I just don't find interest on them, right? So I feel like it's not meaningful for the freshers to understand those terms. It's more important for them to understand, some very why and what things. So again, thank you for sharing. And if you are interested in other folks, you can read these images the brothers shared. But again, just don't bang your head on those terms. Okay. Good answer, Anwar. All right, I hope I answered the question for why we should learn cloud computing. Is there anyone who feels like you have some questions on this part? Why should we learn cloud computing, or how you may get benefited from your perspective? Like you may have a different situation. Is there anyone who would like to ask this type of question?
Yeah, Jahidul bhai, this is Abdul Qadir again.
Sure.
So going further, you mean like this particular old fashion of having server in place, systems in place, will this get replaced? Because as per the market, you see AWS, Azure, and GCP is moving. So will everybody host their IT infrastructure on cloud platform?
Yeah, I think it's a good question, right? Can I give a definite answer? Maybe yes, but should I give? No, I should not give, right? But I should be more nice to answer this question, right? There are some companies, they have to maintain their own data centers. It can be a reason of law, like, for example, some federal projects, right? For example, some different projects, right? These are very exception. They have to maintain their things in their very own process. Even the federal governments, they also get government cloud. If you are aware of it, there is something called gov cloud or government cloud. All the cloud providing companies like AWS, Google, and Azure, they provide separate, isolated, secured cloud services only for the government. So what I'm trying to refer here, I'm trying to say, even those type of restrictions, like you must have to have your own data centers due to some local laws and whatnot, it is also getting replaced very quickly. That's why the companies are actually investing on GovCloud. So now coming back to your question, that yes, definitely, like most of them, is it 90%, 95%, 98%? I do not know, but it is a majority of them. They have to move. There is no other option. I'll tell you why. Okay, I'll give you some very simple example, right? For example, you buy things from IKEA, right? Or you buy things from online, like a furniture type things, or maybe a small table and things like that. In old days, you used to get what? carpenters. They used to build this, right? Now, what they have done, they have made it in a way that you can bring it and just use it, and that's it. You don't have to take a headache of getting the woods. You do not have to take a headache of bringing those people in and prepare the wood, do all these things, burnish and whatnot. I do not know if any of you are aware of those carpenting work I have seen in my childhood. You don't do it nowadays. You go shop and you order and you assemble many of these items. Why? Because it is easy, it is faster. You do not want to take those additional burden and headache. And no companies want to take those additional burden and headache. Because the main job, how you earn money, how a company earn money, not by building servers. A company earn money by making better softwares. So company really want to focus on building better softwares instead of building hardwares. If that if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Right? So, and because it involves a lot of cost, right? Data centers comes with a lot of cost. So the companies are moving. You look right and left, 10 companies, find one company who is maintaining their own data centers. It will be hard for you to find at present. If it is hard for you to find now, that means after 5 years or 10 years, it's just going to be almost impossible. Okay. Anyone else? Any other question on this? Okay, so this is this is, I would say, like, first of all, AI is should I let me answer this question a little bit differently. Right? AI is a means to make us more productive. Now, it can be administrative work, it can be server management work, it can be software writing work, it can be our day-to-day work, right? So to answer that question, yes, it's gonna help, right? Every companies, there are huge investment behind utilizing the capability of AI in improving their processes. Every companies are in race, right? I cannot talk about my company or internal things, but I can tell you that every company in a race to improve their process, almost every process, where they just wanted to make sure that things are productive. Because if you do not make your things productive by utilizing the existing technologies and process, you are going to be falling behind the race, right? So yes, people are trying and people will be trying. Anwar, I hope I answered. Okay. Thank you. So now, those who do not have AWS account, I would suggest, after today, please follow this link number 7.2 and open your, free tier account. It will not cost you money. Maybe it will charge once $1, and then it may check your credit card. But make sure you do not give a wrong information. This link should, instruct you how to do it. So you should be fine to follow the, instructions and be able to get it done. This document talks about what is free tier, right? Free tier means like there are some services you can use free for a certain amount of time, 12 months. So as part of this program, you will not spend any money on this. Actually, technically, almost all the services we are going to use is free. So you are not going to be charged. But if you have AWS account, it will be better for you to do practices and whatnot in future. So if you do not have one, please follow this link and then create an AWS account. Okay. Create a free account and follow the just instructions, on screen instructions. Okay. So sign up and whatnot. It will let you continue your work. So that is one instructions for you at this point. And then I would also highly recommend you to have an account in AWS Educate. The AWS Educate is a learning platform. From AWS, it is still free. AWS Skill Builder, there is another platform which is now paid. So this one is a free platform, has really, really nice resources for someone like you, those who are trying to start. Okay. And the slide I was showing you, it is actually from AWS Educate. Let me make sure that I can show you that. Yeah, it's here. Did I open? Where is that? Yeah, I'm just gonna take it one time. So I suggest you to have AWS Educate, 1 second. I'll show you how it looks like. Okay. There's the homepage. Oh, that's there, right? So it's just an online platform, but it's free, right? I know there are many platforms like, a Cloud Guru and whatnot, but I don't suggest you to spend money now. This is a free platform, and there are very basic to advanced level of programs, and you can follow along and you can learn. So I also recommend you to have you to have an account here. Okay. You do not have to be a student to open it. It is almost open for everyone. Just follow the instructions in the link I have provided. If you click AWS Educate, you should be able to register, and it will let you have this account what just now I showed. Okay, and all these informations are here. Please go ahead and make sure you do it. Not now. You can do it later on, because you cannot accomplish it. You will miss the class. So I suggest you to do it later on. Okay. Now I will jump into my AWS account. Okay. Just FYI, we'll take a break, during the, for the Maghrib, maybe, what is the sunset time? Can anyone tell me what is the sunset time in Austin or Dallas area? Sunset time.
It says
8:15.
8:15.
Okay. Yeah, it's 8:15 is showing in my area in Dallas, in Wiley area. So yeah, I'm living Wiley and Dallas, Austin half, right? So it's interesting. My office in Austin. All right. Coming back to then at 8:15 we'll take a break. Maybe we'll take a 10 minutes break, 10-12 minutes break for prayer, and then we'll continue the rest of the session there. So let's go ahead and start talking about this stuff, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and to access AWS services, we need to go ahead and go to the AWS console. So I just click something called console. It's actually console.aws.com. This is one of my account. Okay, so that's how this account looks like, right? And from here, we will be able to interact with many of these AWS services and whatnot. Before I even proceed there, I would like to talk about something called AWS Global Infrastructure. That's something important for you to understand. Let's look at this map carefully. What do you see here?
Zones.
Okay, so yeah, we see a map actually. You don't see the zone, right? Do you?
Like in the locations of Amazon's, maybe Amazon offices or data centers, maybe. So
Yeah, no, you're right. Whoever says Jones, you are right. But that's that. I was joking, right? We don't see. We see map with some dots, right? So now let's talk about this. It is important for someone beginning to understand this, right? Imagine you are sitting in United States. Oh gosh, you are sitting in United States somewhere here, right? So we are somewhere here, Dallas, Texas, or if you guys are in the East, if some of you are joining from the East Coast, right? So if we are here and we wanted to build something, right? Maybe some application for people in Australia, right? Now it might be a product for Australian government, and they says you need to keep the server in Australia. You cannot keep the server in United States or maybe in some other part of the world. So if they say you will have to keep that application within Australia, then how do you do it? In old days, you had to get involved with local data centers, make them a purchase order. They would have gone to buy those servers, deploy those servers, configure them, power it on, and then they would have told you, hey, your server is ready, now deploy. By this time, 20 days is gone, or 30 days or 40 days is done, right? And also you are spending a lot of money because you already bought a computer or server and you cannot really scale it down or whatnot because you already invested it. Now, if you have more people coming in and using that applications, you will have to buy another server. Now, AWS says, hey, don't worry, we are going to put our data center across the world. All these dots you are seeing, red is upcoming, is not yet available. All these, what is the color? What is this color? Is this green or paste?
It is teal color, most probably.
What?
Teal color. Teal.
Yellow?
Yeah, teal color, most probably. It's kind of green. It's a mix of green and blue.
It's green. Okay. Thank you, Saif.
Green and blue.
Yeah, I think. Okay. I'll go with green. Okay. So all these green color dot you are seeing is actually a cluster of data centers. Okay, it's not only one data center, right? In this dotted area, there is multiple data centers. In simple, not only one. There are multiple of them. So globally, AWS has this type of local areas which they name it. Going forward, we'll be keep saying is something called region, right? So globally, in different region, right? In one country, they may have two regions. Okay, look at this space. They have Melbourne and they have Sydney. In one country, they have two regions. Regions means geographical location, right? So there are geographical location across the world where AWS has their data centers. Now, question is, how many data centers are there, right? Honestly speaking, you do not have accurate answer on that, but we will mimic the word data center equivalent to availability zones, right? There is a term called availability zones, which means within one region, there are multiple data centers. In Sydney, we can see 3 data centers. It is just to simplify this, but it can be, if you calculate it as a building, it can be multiple. Okay. So just think of that in Sydney region, AWS has 3 data centers. In a Melbourne region, there are 3 availability zones, thus there are 3 data centers. So now what we realize, if you look at United States, right? We have in, this is AWS GovCloud in US East, which is Northern Virginia. And this is in Ohio. Let me zoom in a little bit. And also you should see this one is actually for public, Northern Virginia. So this is their very fast region or very fast data center, right? And these very fast data center, what they have done, virtually any services they launch actually in these data center, right? This is heavily used. It also breaks sometimes. As part of that outage, you might have been impacted in the past. But again, that's a bad story. But again, now we have some good idea about what is region and what is availability zone, right? Region is nothing but a geographical area, and then availability zone is nothing but a data center. Are we all good? Mm-hmm. Okay. So the red one, right? Okay, thank you. The red one is nothing but something new coming soon. You can see this is coming soon. So you can see all this stuff. They have improved this website a lot. I think I didn't put this link. I'll make sure that I'll put this link in the ticket so that where we are, free account, AWS Global Infrastructure, right? So you can go to this link and you can get to know about this, right? Don't bang your head much. If you understand this too, we are good to go to work inside our console. Are we good? Any question on this global infrastructure? Global infrastructure means where is what? Any question from anyone? No? Okay. Okay. Thank you, Bilal. I know you've never been exposed to cloud. So if you say all said, then I can be a little bit rest assured. All right, moving ahead. So let's go inside the console and get to know what is there, right? That may give us a little bit more good feelings. Okay. So console is a place where you go actually think of like going to a shopping website, right? You go to buy, let's say, Amazon.com for what? To buy, items, right? And we come to this website to buy servers and all other AWS services. Does it make sense? So if you wanted to buy something from AWS, you will have to come to this console. That's one option. There are multiple options, but this is the number one option. Okay. And thus we wanted to make sure you are familiarized with this, right? Whenever you come to this console, it will look a little bit different for your case because you will be doing a brand new one. So you may not see these recently visited places or services. So if you look into here, there is something called services. Under these services, you can look into different categories, right? Now, I do not know exactly how many services AWS has. I think I do not have it in my head, maybe 200 or 300, and then there are hundreds of sub-services, right? Service under services, right? That's what we say, sub-services. So now, but I'm just trying to give you some, overall look, how it looks like on the different categories of services, what we can really do, right? Think of you are a data analyst and you want to do some data analytics activities and you wanted to use some services. AWS says, don't worry. We have something called data analytics services, right? Maybe some of these services, some of you, if you are working in data analytics, you may already know, like QuickSight. QuickSight is kind of a visualization service. And there are many other data analytics services, right? So if you are in a data analyst route, definitely, maybe many of these services, you will be eventually using it. I'm trying to make a point that for everyone, cloud is important. Whatever role you are in, whatever you are trying to do in your current work, cloud is gonna play important role. If you have cloud expertise within your domain, you are definitely well ahead of the game. Okay, that's something we all need to understand, right? It's just not a developer things. It's just not a DevOps things. It's just not a cloud engineers things. No, it is for everyone, and everyone has a fair share within this platform. If you can learn, if you can excel in your area, you have to definitely identify what is your area and what are the services I should understand in order to do better in my role, right? But before even you try to learn any of these services, you need to have the foundation clear, right? How to really go into this and how to navigate within this platform, right? And that's something we are doing in day one. And then we'll move around few services that will give us more confidence on how to play around more services. Okay. And there are many more. I'll just pick few, not all of them. For example, compute, a very, very important service. And from here, few of them we will cover, at least one of them. Lambda we will cover. It is a serverless service. We will see what it does. You can imagine most of your compute things are being powered by these services, behind the scene, right? Behind the scene, most of your compute need, when I say compute need, in other words, server need, okay? In very layman terms, server need is going to be served by this compute platform. In the past, I worked for EC2 team. EC2 team consists of around 5,000 engineers, around 5,000 developers. I was part of one of those team for about a year before I moved to my current team. Right, it is extensive work behind the scene people are doing in order to just keep it running, in order to just make sure that people can use it. This millions and millions customer can use it. So the compute being one of the major area of these cloud services, AWS cloud services. Okay. So if you think that, okay, I need to learn AWS, you need to understand that you will have to pick some of these compute services for sure. Okay, which is like mostly EC2, Lambda, and there are a few more, but I would refer these two first, to start with. You will have to pick these two. There are batch and other services, but again, those are a little bit different. Not everyone may be using those. Again, for containers, there are container services and whatnot. Again, database, Like AWS also provides database. It's like a grocery shop, right? If you go to a grocery shop, they're gonna give you everything, right? You can buy dal, you can buy rice, you can buy fish, you can buy everything, right? So cloud platform, in simple, is actually another grocery shop. But here the customers are guys, those who need to build application, right? Application builders. They're the customer, right? So to make sure they make everyone happy, they need to provide all the services for everyone. Does that make sense? No? Okay, thank you. So that's why there are machine learning, there are Internet of Things, which is IoT. There are just name things, right? You find all these like quantum technologies, or I just cannot. You can name anything, you'll find everything, find that thing within this platform, right? So I'm not going deep into all these subsections because that may just make you feel a little bit exhausted, right? Any questions so far about these services?
Okay, question. What cannot be done in AWS?
What cannot be done in AWS?
Yes.
Is that the question?
Yeah.
Oh, very interesting question. Okay, let me think, because I do not have a default answer. Okay, what cannot be done within AWS, right? Yeah, it's hard to think, right? Really, we think we can do almost everything within AWS, right?
I think I have one.
Can you share? Help me out with this question.
So when you navigated through containers, like they don't have better containers as compared to Google one, the Kubernetes, so which actually deploys application. You can deploy as many as applications that provide clustering and all for 100% availability. So
Is this like have you worked with Google Kubernetes clusters, Google services before?
No, I just gone through this some websites and all. I see that that
So yeah, I think I would say like there is EKS. EKS is actually a Kubernetes service, which is you find in GKS in GCP. I do not know what is the name in Azure. Azure also has Kubernetes. So it's actually is there. I think technologically is there. Now the GKS may have some upper hand. I do not know. I haven't compared this to services in the past, so I do not know on that. But there is Kubernetes. Okay, just I'm pointing here. Some brother also texted. So what we cannot do, right? Really tough questions. If any of you can give input later on, find out something what we cannot do in cloud, that would be really great. There are limitations. I wanted to give a note here instead of I cannot really give any pinpointed things at this point, but all these services comes with a limitation. There are certain limitations. There are you can go up to certain extent on certain things, right? So can we do anything or everything? No, there are limitations. There are code, service code. There are limit on certain things. But again, this is maybe more than enough for a regular companies, for more than enough for a very highly scalable applications, right? But in terms of maybe other special things, I really do not know. Like AWS now also provide you LLM, right? Large language model, which is think of like OpenAI and things like that. AWS provides you service like Bedrock. You can go and choose a large language model and you can start training that AI and do what you wanted to do, right? So I really do not know what they are not providing at this point. It could be really tricky questions. I just don't have answer. Whoever asked me this question, do you know the answer? Do you know anything what is not there?
No, actually, my point is, what is the limitation of AWS? That's what you said, that a lot of things are actually we cannot go 100%. 100% cannot be possible in AWS platform, right?
Yeah, so let's
could-
think of this way, right? All these services are built on top of hardwares,
Mhm.
right? And it is being consumed by millions and millions of customers.
Mhm.
If I give customer A access to spin zillions of servers, customer B will not be able to use them at that day, at that point in time, right?
Right.
Now, AWS has to make sure that they put certain limitations that what people can use so that they can manage their compute system. Now, for example, just for the sake of example, right? You can buy 100 servers in one day. For example, there is no course like that. Now, if you buy 100 servers and now maybe you need to know you have 1,000 servers, can you buy? You can buy. Then you will have to make a separate exception, or you have to file a ticket to AWS saying that, hey, going forward, I will be needing 1,000 servers, and this is my time frame. So they will release the quota limit for your account to make sure that you can run your services. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So it is to make sure there is a balance, right? AWS has millions of customers across the world, millions, and this number is just not a fake number; it's a true number, right? There are millions of machines that are being powered. So that's why those quota limits are there, right? At the end of the day, this is running in a machine, and that machine has a limitation, right? So we need to make sure that, okay, whatever the service we are running in a machine, and we can take off 1 million people. And then now if someone is saying that I want more, then I have to make a plan, right? They have to make sure that hardware are scaled up and then people can use it. They just wanted to make sure, because there is a commitment. Every service comes with a commitment of uptime. What does uptime means? It means you will not have any interruption. Some services, they give a guarantee of 9/11 durability. When I say 9/11, it means 99.911, almost they're saying 100%, right? It's 0.00001%. They are not giving assurance that you are not going to lose data, you are not going to lose the service. So when they give that level of assurance, they have to make sure they maintain it. That makes sense?
Yeah, thank you.
So that's why the limits are there. It's not because they cannot make it. It's just because they have to make sure they serve their all customers, and those top customers, those who really need more computes or need a limit request, they will go ahead and request the limit, right? So for example, the account I am in this account, there are a couple of services I had to request limit because I do something in that cases, like when you get the account, it will be considered as a test account. Anytime you buy an account, there will be a lot of restrictions in multiple services to make sure that people are not misusing this. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, thank you.
So yeah, good question. Thank you. Anyone else? Any other question? No? Yeah, feel free to ask question, I think, because it's your opportunity to talk and to get an answer from a human. You can learn and read many things by your own as well. But sometimes, our mind always get conflicts, right? That what should I do and what is this and what is that, right? And maybe a human can answer better. But again, you will have WhatsApp group. Also, you can join our Slack channel there. You can also text us there. You can find me there as well. But again, we'll be connected. It is 8:10. Let's check out where we are within our plan. So we spoke about it. We spoke about cloud computing. Introduction to AWS. And I asked you guys to fill out, get this done. AWS global infrastructures. We spoke about AWS region and AWS availability zone. Now let's go back to the console and show you where is this. If you look into this, do you see there is a drop down called Northern Virginia? Do you see that US East, Northern Virginia, and Virginia? Okay, so whenever I choose this one, it means that all these services I'm going to now provision or create or buy, I'm going to buy from Northern Virginia data center. Is that clear? Okay. All these services, now we are going to buy, starting with a server. We are doing it all in Northern Virginia. Now, coming back to the next, we have Ohio. And just look at this something a little bit carefully. There says something called US East 1, right? So this is a common name for everyone to understand. And this is a programmatic name. So when we write code and we do any programmatic activities, if we have to define that which region I want to spin up a server or get a service, we are going to define it using this small name US East 1 instead of this regular name. Okay, so if we say US East 1, we refer to Northern Virginia. If we say US East 2, we refer to Ohio. If we say US West 1, we refer to Northern California. If we say US West 2, we refer to Oregon. Okay, I hope that gives you some good understanding on AWS region. If we wanted to drop something in Sydney, what are you gonna do? Is there anything in Australia for me, or they are all blocked? That are not enabled for this account, right? There are 12 regions, they are not enabled for this account, right? I have to go and ask them, hey, I would like to deploy something in Africa, Cape Town. Can you open me, can you allow me to deploy in Cape Town? So as I said a few minutes ago, right, when you get your account, because this is the account what we use for training for many years, I think over 6 years or 5 years. I think 6 years we are using this account. But we never deployed anything in Cape Town or Hong Kong. These are limited areas. So they put some restrictions on that. We will have to make a request. How do we make a request? If you go to Quotient, there is something called Support Center. You go to Support Center, you cut a ticket. Okay, when I say cut a ticket, it means create a ticket. And you can tell them what is your problem. Like here, you can say create a case. For example, you got some weird bill and you wanted to, contact AWS. You cannot just, the procedure is you just file a ticket, right? So you can say create a ticket. You can choose whatever the topic you want to say. So say account and billing, and then you choose a service that, okay, I have a billing issues. I'm getting lots of bill, charge inquiry or whatnot, right? Or payment issue. And then you can write your details and file a ticket. Okay. So I'm going to clear it up. So if I have to request, additional service limit, I wanted to deploy, something in Cape Town, I have to go ahead and request. Okay. At this point, I think it is 8:15. Let's take a break for 10 minutes. I will be here. I will still wait for all of you to start. So we can start between 8:25 to 8:30. Okay. 10 to 15 minutes. You can take a break for prayer, and we'll be seeing you soon. Hey, hi, I am back. I will still wait more few minutes to make sure that everyone is here. Meantime, if any of you, those who are available, I can answer any of your question. Can we connect after this to talk about? Yeah, sure, no problem. Okay, thank you, Bilal. Yeah, for those who just joined, I'm just waiting more 3 minutes for others to be back. Ask me any question if you have. If you have anything, you can ask me at this point.
Brother, can you go over a little bit the security issues of AWS? I mean, a lot of companies, they are using AWS services, but still they are concerned about security. I guess all of the projects, they have their other security personnel. So what is the concern about that? I mean, let's say I'm deploying or creating one application in AWS. still I have to think about the security. Why is that?
Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to understand your question, right? So you're saying, hey, I'm buying services from AWS, I'm
Mhm.
paying them money,
Right.
and why still we have to think about security? Is
Right.
this your question?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I will give this answer a little later. Let me give you an example.
Sure.
Remember the example I gave about the land, right? How you rent land to the community. Did you hear that example?
Yeah, yes. Mhm.
Okay, so when you rent that land to the people of your community or someone whoever coming and renting your land and doing their vegetation, right? So now you are giving them a key. Imagine your land has a lock or gate or whatnot, right? You gave that passcode to that person, right? And the person will come in, and that person should only be able to enter into his land, right?
Mhm.
So that means if there are 10 plots or 10 land, that person should have a separate key only to enter his land. And by default, he should not be able to enter rest of 9 lands, correct? Now the passcode is given to him, right? Is there any chance that he can share this passcode to someone who is vulnerable, who can cause problem to his own land?
Probably not, but if
Let's say when you say probably not, you are putting a trust. But
yes,
trust doesn't fact and
Well,
trust is not the same thing, right?
true.
Correct? So
Mhm.
your credentials can be compromised, and then someone may come to your vegetation and then pick up your vegetables, right?
Mhm.
Now, should you blame this one to the owner, or you should take the responsibility of this?
Yep.
Yeah, obviously the person who is owner for that, who is renting that land, he's responsible because his credential was compromised. So now in the term of cloud, we say something called shared responsibilities, right? AWS and all the cloud platforms, it's not only AWS, all the cloud platform works with something called shared responsibility model, right? We, as a service provider, AWS is going to give you everything necessary, and they will also tell you that what is their responsibility and what is your responsibility. So security is something, it is a shared. AWS will defend the services within their periphery. But when it go, because you also need to get into the system, right? In order to make it work, correct? AWS engineer is not going to come and make it work, right? So you still need a credential for your server, for your ports and whatnot. You have to go and interact with them. Now, if you hasn't put all the guardrails to ensure that your access mechanism are not compromised, then that responsibility belongs to you. Now there are certain security aspects. AWS has said that this is my responsibility, right? Just to give you a very normal example, right?
Yeah.
AWS says that the server, protecting that server, wherever it is, physical server, I'm taking the responsibility. But the programmatic access, what we have given to you, it is your job to protect, not our job.
Yeah. Got it.
That makes sense, right?
Yeah. Nice answer. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, thank you for the question. A question helps me, and more interactive session is better, right? Okay, this is a good question. So we are already 2 minutes past, so we have around 28 minutes to go. So yeah, thank you for that question, right? So almost everywhere, right? This shared responsibility model is everywhere. So that's why the companies are hiring cloud security engineers. Companies are like, security is a big concern for sure, for any company, right? So, but again, there are already predefined, and if you follow the things properly, you should be secured in most of the cases. There is no 100% guarantee for anything, but you have to understand that this same exact platform is being used by companies, those who are making $1 billion revenues. That means This services has been built by AWS or by those cloud platforms in that secure manner, because they cannot, they cannot just lose their reputation, right? That's the interesting part in cloud, right? You are using something which has been battle tested, which has been, when we say battle tested, we mean like it has been used. Sorry, what?
Compromised. Something like compromised yesterday.
Sorry, can you say one more time?
I mean, we are using like something which has been compromised or outdated or something like that.
Yeah, so you're saying that we are not using, or we are using? Sorry, Abdul.
So you said like, we are not using the thing that is already been compromised. So then
Yeah, so
everything is, there is a new thing going on. So
right. So I'm trying to give an just understanding that, imagine like you're someone trying to move into cloud, right? Not from the engineering perspective, from a business perspective, right? So you wanted to get an assurance that this is a secure place, right? This is a place I can use, right? And the example is simple, right? Because there are top-notch companies, billion-dollar companies, they're using the same platform to run their super critical system. So that means exactly that same service you are using, that means it is actually as secure as that billion-dollar company. Now, whenever the access control is given to you, now it is you take a responsibility how you keep it all right? How you do your part. But the service has been built in that manner. I hope that gives you some understanding, right? We are not saying they are like 100% proof, right? There are like continuously people are trying to improve, right? The bad people are trying to take over things, and good people are trying to protect them. That's the battle in the security, right?
So, Jahidul bhai, can you correct me? Like, for this, they have special engineers, right? There is another label, I think it's a DevSecOps that comes security with that.
Yeah, so now we are going into the definition of the role, okay?
And just
This is fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. I wanted to clarify. Definitely, I will answer your question, right? That I wanted to make sure that audience understand the question. Abdul, this is Abdul Qadir, right? I'm referring to. You asked me the question, right? So Abdul Qadir asked the question, right? It refers to, I think, a role, right? Now, there are two aspects we are talking about. From the aspect of who is building AWS, those are AWS engineers. How they secure it is a giant work. It's a big work. Hundreds and thousands of engineers is working behind it. There are hundreds of engineering team, right? Someone can easily be lost within that team, right? And there are different level of security. There are different level of engineers that are working behind it, and it's complex. It's, I think, not easy to explain, but which is easy to explain to you, and which is needed for you, because you are not building AWS services. You are using AWS services, right? This is what I usually tell people, right? When you are using AWS services, think of you are just a modern, smart operator. I don't know why people tell us engineers, right? Do we really build something? We build, but I feel like we are still an operator, right? It's like a big puzzle. We move things here and there, and then we make it work, and it works. We say, okay, we are engineer, which is fine. People say we are engineer, which is okay. We can take credit of that title, but we are an operator, right? Now, to answer the DevSecOps is just a term, right? Maybe the same job is being done by some other engineers in a security role, or some other engineers in only DevOps role. Maybe some other engineers in just a pure software engineering role. It depends on companies. Every company doesn't have DevSecOps role. It's the DevOps role heavily focused on security. That's called Dev. In between there is called Sec, and then Ops. So this guy should be good at development, should be good at operations, also be good at it in security. So he should have actually many different capabilities. Now, again, not every company has DevSecOps. So those titles should not make you confused, I would say. Those titles should not confuse you, right? Did I give you the answer, Abdul Qadir?
Yeah. Thank you.
But like, I want to ask you a further question, right? Why you got it in your mind Tell me that
No,
first.
the thing is, like, you started this class saying that this is AWS kind of curriculum, and then so basically, as you said, the engineer who build something or create something, definitely they also have a something called as, in order to protect that build, you create a policy or a security to that. Like, you cannot give access to everybody. So like, say if a person requires only this application, you can only provide access to him only to EC2, but not all the services, rest of all the services. So that's where my thought came.
Yeah, okay. So that's called minimum, least privilege access. That's the term we use. People should get only the access what they are entitled to, right?
Yeah.
What they're supposed to, right? Even he's a VP of development, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's called limited access policy. Actually, we only give what people need.
Yeah.
No matter who is he. Right?
Yes.
Okay, this is great. No, good point. All right. Am I sharing my screen? Most likely I am not. So let me share my screen. Anyone else? Any other question? No question. I'm looking into the chat. Where is the chat? I hate Zoom. We use different platform for many days, but we are trying to adapt Zoom for last few, like over a year or so. But I still hate this platform. It's not user friendly. Yeah, again, it's very popular, right? So that's why we forced to come to this platform. All right, no more question. Let's move into the next topic. So we covered this. We asked you to make sure that you have these few accounts. Okay, please. If you have issues opening these accounts, definitely WhatsApp us. Use that channel. Take help from other folks. Maybe some of your classmates here. Those who are participating here, they have already done. They can also help. So feel free, or maybe Google and read the documentation. It should be fairly straightforward. Make sure you don't give your billing address wrong. Make sure you don't give your credit card information wrong. It is very sensitive. In some cases, they will block you and they will ask your proof of address and things like that. I know some cases this happened in the past with some of my students. So just be cautious when you give this. It's just a regular purchase. And once you are in, tomorrow's class, maybe you will get to know more to how to make it a little bit more secure so that you don't fall into problem. Okay, so we have just went over AWS console. AWS CLI is, I'll just tell in one sentence because maybe we'll not do any work within using AWS CLI in this class. It's just a command line utility so that we can interact to AWS console, to AWS services using terminal. For an example, here is my terminal I have opened up. I will not go through that installations and all that because our workshop, the project we will deliver, it doesn't require CLI mostly. If it requires, I will ask you to install, but if not, it should be I just don't want it to put you in more complicated situation. So for example, this is our terminal. If I wanted to know how many S3 buckets we have, it will let me know. Actually, under my account, I have all these buckets. There are over 100 buckets I have in this account. The account just now I showed you guys. So I should be able to see it from my terminal. So this is one way. The second way. And the third way to communicate with these services is using the program. Just writing pure, maybe Python program, Java program, and whatnot. I should be able to interact. When I say interact, I mean creating these services, updating these services, deploying applications, and whatnot. So there are multiple ways to interact with AWS services. Are we good on that front? At least 3 ways I just mentioned. There are more ways. Okay. And we will limit this class only to the console. Okay. Are we good?
Yes.
Right. So anyone who just seeing today cloud or AWS account, do you have any question on the console? who just saw today? Is there anyone like that? Oh, everyone saw the console in the past. So the survey was not correct? No? Okay, good. So we
It
found
was awesome as well.
okay, because survey says 80% people, zero AWS knowledge. Because that's how we can tune the classes, right? We wanted to make sure that we are not coming up with something to make people frustrated. Okay, so far we are comfortable, right? There are a few things I showed. I'll just give a quick recap. I went over the services. These are big sections. Under one section, we have different services like data analytics. We have some data analytics services. We have compute. We have something called storage. Let me pull up the storage. Do you see anyone? Where is the storage? The bottom one. We have storage. There are storage services. S3 is being one of the storage services. We have security services, security, identity, and compliance. This is the very next thing we are going to cover before we leave today. You can see that bunch of services, and these services as sub-services. These are all related to security. These are all related to securely using this platform. Okay. And then we also talked about something called region. We showed you that where can you see which region you are at this point, right? We say this is how, if we say, hey, go to US East 1, you will actually come here and select. By default, it will be US East 1 if you are within United States. Some cases, if you are some other country accessing, it will reroute you towards the closest region. That's what I have seen in the past. Also, some people get Ohio as a default region. So just make sure that whenever you practice in this class, select US East region. The reason why I'm asking you to use US East is because you need to clean it up later on, right? If I'm doing it in US East 1, you do it in US East 2, Ohio, and we'll ask you to clean up, then maybe you will be losing these things here and there, right? So just want to make sure everything is in the same page. Excuse me. So these few things we have covered here, right? And apart from that, if you click here, you will find some information here like your account ID and IAM user. I'll be coming back what is IAM user shortly. And also you will see billing and cost management where you can see your bills. Also, you can see your bills here. We have some bill here, but this is what you see here. So moving ahead, we'll talk about one service called IAM. Right? So what is IAM, right? Identity and access management, right? So let me give you some small example. For example, our school has we have some team members. We have also many students, right? Sometimes we give access to the students, those who do our classes, to view some projects, right? So we have to give them some access. How do we give them access? The simple way to give them access to human is to create something called user. So we create user to give access to the human. Okay. I refer to the term human, there is a reason. Okay. So we give, if a human want to access this account, because we may have 10, 20, 30, 50 team members, and everyone may want to come to this account and create services, build their applications, and do whatnot they like to do. Right? So what we can do to them, we can create something called users, right? For the purpose of test, we are going to create something called user. If you come to here, access management, when you create your AWS account, it will create one default user called root user with your big email address, whatever email address you will provide, and with the password. Make sure that you do not save that password and username in the browser. Keep it in a safe place. That's called root user. But that user you are not gonna use every day. For your everyday use, you will create something called IAM user. Okay, think of root user means a master user or a main user or super user, whatever you can refer to. Whenever you create this new account, you will be given something called, whenever you come here, create a free account, it will ask you to give your email address, right? Oh, shoot. Okay, so let me just open it in a separate window. I just wanted to show you guys. Copy link, address, new incognito window. So whenever you give, see, it says that root user email address. So you will give definitely a good email address. Do not give your junk email address. AWS account is a sensitive account. Make sure this account you use the right email address, which you have full control over. Okay. Make sure that you do not save it to the browser. That's my strong recommendation. You can, if you want to really save it in a secret place where you can access it so that it is not accessible by anyone except you. Right? You can give an account name, whatnot, and then you should be able to continue. It will ask you to give your password, billing address, and whatnot. You give it, you will get it. So whatever the initial username and password you find, it's called root user or admin user or super user, right? In AWS, they don't use those terms. They only say root user. Keep that one in a safe custody. Do not use that one for your day-to-day work. For your day-to-day work, you will be using something called IAM user. I'm going to show you that shortly. So if you come here, IAM user, I need one volunteer who is going to test it and who is going to say that, hey, I can access your account. Is there any volunteer?
Yeah, I can do it. Mohammad Abdul Qadir here.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Abdul Qadir. So I'm going to create Abdul. And how do you write your name?
Yeah, Abdul should be fine.
Okay, so Abdul Dev. Okay. So let's say you're Dev. You said Abdul Dev. And there are some naming conventions. There's something you can do, something you cannot do. This should be fine. Provide user access to AWS Management Console. That means you should be able to log in through the Wave console. We can auto-generate a password. User must create a new password at next sign-in recommendation. So that means as soon as you get these new credentials, you will have to create a new password. So now it is asking me to add user to a group, copy a permission, attach a policy directly. So what I'm going to do, so when I say policy, it is nothing but simply says that what this person can do. What this person can do. Does it make sense? Attach policies directly, right? So the policies is a document. It's a JSON document where there are instructions already written. You can make it by your own, but today we are just going to use the default one so that some other people, like you can attach, you can just say that, hey, okay, let me give a step back. So we are creating an user. We gave a name, Abdul Dev. And then now we are saying that what type of permission this person should have. So how do we define the permission? We define the permission through something called policies. And I'm going to select that policy. Okay. I'm going to select a policy where he will have to change his password. I am read-only access. I am change password because he need an access to be able to change his password. Because you have seen in the previous screen, I did say that whenever he will try to log in for the first time, it will force him to change his password. So I need to give him this permission. What I can do, I can just create an empty one without permission and ask Abdul, will you be able to share your screen once we create this account?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So you can see by default, they're adding this one here as because we said earlier that this person need to change his password in the first login. So I'm going to create it. I can email you.
Yeah, it's MAQ.
Yeah, let's just text it. I can text it to you.
Yeah,
It
okay.
should be fine. It's a temporary account. Don't save. And how do I send it to you?
You can send it over the chat via individual.
Where is that individual?
I just messaged you.
Okay, I can select. You just Abdul Kader. Okay, let me send. Yes, I just sent you the details. You can go ahead and log in and share your screen. So you can see we have created Abdul Dev, and he has a policy attached. Don't worry if you don't know JSON and whatnot. This is a default one, so AWS has already created this policy for you so that you can easily use. When you really start learning by yourself, and maybe you will have to go through learning JSON and understanding them. There are a lot of things to do here, but for now, don't worry about it. Just think of this is a document where we define what this person can access.
Yeah. Jahidul bhai, you need to unshare before I share.
Yeah, sure. Okay, stop share. Yeah, you can share your screen.
So, Jahidul, but typically in an professional setting, the admin would create their self-directed policies targeting their organizations, right? Right now,
Yeah,
these
there will
are
be.
the standard.
Sorry, go ahead.
As you showed, this particular policy is present within AWS. You have around 1,306 policies that AWS provides, right? Where you can select and apply to a particular IAM user. But in a typical uh, organizational setting where the access to developers to their organization's AWS account is given and controlled by the admin, the admins will build up an entire detailed policy how the people would be having access and likewise, right?
Yeah, for sure, right? In our organization, there will be a responsible engineers doing this job, right? Now, is it admin or is it another cloud engineer or DevOps engineer? It is different company to company, right? Based on how they have structured their teams, right? But there will be a responsible person to define it when it comes to a production account. Okay, and now maybe you are coming from a like this is a good question you asked. I have answered, I believe, but there is second aspect you need to understand. If you are someone who is working within the platform as whatever your role is, right?
Mhm.
You must understand this IAM.
Yeah.
You must understand this IAM inside and out. Okay, if you are a builder, if you are a DevOps engineer, if you're a cloud engineer, you should understand it inside and out, because this is something going to give you trouble every day if you don't understand this properly. Is you can think of ABCD of learning cloud.
Yeah, Jahidul bhai, I think the password is, I think you have to view from your side because it's all empty here.
Oh, when I copied, it didn't password didn't go through
It didn't copy it. It's just,
the stars.
empty. Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
Then let me go ahead and create one more time. Permissions. Manage console access. Reset password. Auto generate user must. Okay. Show password. Second. User must. Okay. I'm sharing you the password in the chat.
Mhm. Okay.
This weird chat. Where is the chat? Okay. Where is the chat? Can you send me a text one more time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I hate this. Okay, please log in.
So now I am getting the prompt of changing the password.
Yeah, so you have to give your old password and the new password. Make sure there is a special character. Make sure there is uppercase and lowercase combination. And it should be more than 8. Okay, looks like good. It's going in. Okay, so I want you to do something here, just for
Yeah.
the sake of others to understand, right?
Yes.
There are many places it's now telling you access denied, right?
Yes.
And also it is showing you the default region is Ohio, right? Remember I was talking about this?
Yes.
So you must make sure you see what is your default region. And I suggest throughout the workshop you do in Northern Virginia so that we all are in same page. Number 2. And now this gentleman doesn't have access to certain things, like it is unable to list the applications. So there are certain applications there you cannot access. Look into the cost and uses. We also hasn't given you, look, scroll down, the cost and uses. So you really do not see the billing information, what I was able to see, right?
Yes.
I'm also an user with limited access. I also do not have unlimited access. Okay. My user, the user I logged in, you must have seen something called Jahidul dev or something like that. That user also doesn't have all access, but I had access to the billing, right? So I was able to see. And also you have noticed that he was able to reset his password. And now can you go to the IAM service? You can search and yeah, that works. You can also mark it as a favorite so that you don't have to search all the time. Okay. Now you see there are so many things. It's just saying you do not have access to these and you do not have access to that, right?
Yeah.
It's just because we gave you only access to reset the password. Right? So that's called least access policy. Because at this point, Abdul Kader only requires to, I want him to just log in and show you this, right? He's not building any applications and he's not doing anything. Okay? Are we good so far? Okay, so if you're good so far, Abdul, I will take over the screen and we'll just talk about 5 minutes. We'll go extra 5 minutes. We will talk about IAM role that may make some sense, may not make some sense, but which is fine because we will not show you any example of the role at this point. Okay, to show you example of a role requires some activities which we'll be doing in next class, but we'll talk about the role. Now, who has logged in to this account? Abdul Kader, right?
Yes.
And Abdul Kader being a human or he's a machine?
Human.
You are a human, right?
Yeah.
Guys, it is very important to understand. Okay, he's a human. So he wanted to log in and we created something called user. Now, let's think of a different scenario, okay? Let's think of a different scenario. Let me quickly open something here. Create new AWS workshop. Folder. In a second. Give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, I'll just draw it. I'll just do it in one account, in one folder. Oh, did I say new? I have to say blank. Yes, root folder. Okay. All right. So we have within a second we'll have a drawing. So let's let's talk about, there is a database service, okay? Okay, there is a database service. We said EC2. EC2 is a server service, okay? It's nothing but a server. Think of any server, okay? In this server, we have our application running. And then we have RDS. Let's say we are taking any of these RDS, a relational database, or in other words, a database, okay? We have a, let's say NoSQL, DynamoDB. Okay, let's just keep this, just to keep it simple, right? So this is a database service, Amazon RDS. Better to keep some name. And this is EC2, application running in EC2 server. And this is nothing but a database server. Okay, this is two different entity, right? It is two different entity. Now, as I said, the cloud is a highly secured place, right? Now you have an application, let's say web application running, okay? And then your web application need to talk to your database, need to talk to your, maybe in your website, you put something and then it need to be stored in the database, correct? That means your application, whatever the code, whatever the way you have written your application need to talk to this database. Now, this communication is a human-to-human communication or machine-to-machine communication?
This is automatic machine, I think, machine communication.
What other folks think? Communication between two computers is a machine-to-machine communication or human-to-human communication?
Yeah, basically between two systems or two applications, because that's a database servers itself as a software piece on an infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a machine-to-machine communication, right? Can we come to that level? Can we say that this is machine-to-machine?
Yeah, that should be fine.
Yeah, so there is a reason, right? That's how we define the role versus user. Now we have to give this user a policy or a role, sorry, this application or this server role with permission to talk to RDS server. Now we are not giving him creating an user. We are going to create a role and we are going to put this role, IAM role. We are going to put this IAM role hat to this person, not this person, to this server. So if we create a role, we are going to assign this role to a machine. Anytime we talk to a role, we talk about role, we refer to machine communication, not a human to machine communication. The communication we made through the console is a human to machine communication, right? As a human, Abdul Qadir logged in and he started interacting with the services, right? So the role, as we go in the next session, we'll have to create some role in order to build our small project. So maybe at that time I can demonstrate, but now it is going to be too much to demonstrate. So if we go, any question up to here about role and the concept of role and IAM user?
Jahidul, I have one question.
Sure.
So as we saw when we created a user, we had to assign a policy, right? So is it the similar concept when we create a role, we also need to add a policy to it in order for the
yes,
mission?
you are right. You are right. So what we can do, we can quickly create a role, but I cannot show you the demonstration of how it applies at this point, but we can definitely create a role that will clarify your thoughts. Imagine that we are creating a role. We clicked on role. We said create role. Imtiaz, I'm answering your question, but I'm demonstrating it. So I'm going to say that, hey, EC2 service, right? EC2 service, choose a use case for the allow EC2 instance to call AWS service on your behalf, right? So I'm saying I'm going to give EC2 service to talk to our AWS service. Which service we have to define now? Now here I'm going to say RDS. If you find RDS, and you will find Amazon RDS full access, right? It's a bad practice to give a full access. Sorry, this one, RDS full access. I'm going to just say, for the sake of demonstration, I'm going to choose these. These are default, created by already AWS. Can I create my own policy? Yes, I can create my own policy. I can create my own definitions, which is called custom policies. For the purpose of demonstrations, to keep it simple and easy, we are going to choose this existing policy where this says that this policy is defined in a way that whomever you give this policy, that person or role going to have the ability to communicate with the AWS RDS services. That makes sense? So, yep. So we define that who is gonna use it. We said EC2 gonna use it, and then we say now we are going to say what EC2 gonna do it. EC2 gonna communicate or talk to another service called RDS. To define that, we have to assign a policy. That's what all we are trying to do. Right? The role is maybe Austin workshop. Sorry, it is just for the sake of my, we'll clean up it later on. So I'm keeping a note on the front, but your name should be the right name, okay? In real world, right? Web app role. Web app EC2 role, for example. I'm just trying to keep it as much as possible clean. So if I hit create, we have a role created already. And if you see that it has a policy defined here. Are we good? So it is almost the same way we create, but how we use it, it is different. Are we good?
Yep, good. Thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Any other question? No, if you have question, you can ask me. Why do we need AWS IAM? We answered how to create IAM user, how to create IAM role. We didn't see, I didn't show you how to use this one, right? So as we go in next day project, we will be able to use one, so we can demonstrate. Hopefully we can roll out the project tomorrow. We are 10 minutes over. Any question, anything? So before I drop, I would like to ask you one thing. Please update your progress in this comment. Oh, actually, you have only read-only access in this ticket because it is public. But again, let us know in the WhatsApp group, wherever we have that WhatsApp group, and then keep us posted on this, on this project, so that we can, help you out to at least get things done and be ready tomorrow. Tomorrow, I expect all of you will have AWS account, and then you also should have AWS Educate account. I wanted to show you that how you can self-learn. Okay. Any other question? Anyone else? Last moment.
Thank you very much, Jahidul. It was really informative. So this is really a new thing, but I think the way that you are explaining with the examples is really nice. So it is more of like, instead of, learning or remembering, this is a kind of example like scenarios. I think this is going to help a lot.
No, thank you for the feedback, right? So I personally cannot remember things. Sometimes I forget my teammate's name. That's bad. That's bad, right? And then I ask them, can you remind me your name? So I struggle 10 seconds, then I can remember. It might be a problem with me, but I am a strong advocate of not to memorize things. So whenever people come to us, I first day I say, if you are trying to memorize, that's haram here. It's clearly haram, is clearly defined haram. If a student is trying to even attempt to memorize, it's just a suicide. Because the amount of things you will have to observe to learn these other stuff is enormous, it's too much, right? But you can only learn this if you know how to learn it. If you think that you will learn 10 items and you are engineer, no, forget it. Then you choose something else. You need to learn how to learn. That's very important. And if you know how to learn, then you never have to memorize. And other thing I usually tell people, right? Anything you see here in the world of tech, you should be able to define it through your practical experience. Anything you have seen in the past. 99% cases, you will be able to relate. The reason why I'm saying that you will be able to, like, why it is important for you to relate, because if you are coming from a different background, right, it is a different world. But this world has been defined by whom? By like some human, you and me. So when they defined it, they also had to think about a practical concept before they implemented in a form of services, code, application, and whatnot. So anything you see, you will have to find out at the beginning, at least, some example, some concept from your known world, so that you can correlate that what I am learning, because it is a different concept. But perspective is definitely available in your real world. I hope I was able to give a pointer. No? Is it, or I made it complicated? No? Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's see you guys tomorrow, hopefully. And let's build something small, something nice, which makes you feel confident that now we can build things and we can play around this. At the end of the session, if we see you can play around things and explore something using a document and example, that would be great. See you tomorrow, same time. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.